Stormbringer issue 26. Another paint issue. Yay. Hello and welcome to issue 26 of our continuing series of Warhammer Stormbringer magazine by Hachette Collection. Now this is a paint reinforcement issue. You get corn red and a contrast paint colour called Glyph Hound Orange. But the good thing, of course, about paint issues is that you get a lot of lore. So there's a lot of interesting background in these issues. This one starts off, of course, with the elves, or the A-elves. So the first ones, of course, are the Lumineth, which would be kind of the monkish, pure, highly disciplined, respect, balance, the ultimate good guys kind of paragon type of elves. You also have the twin gods that they worship, which is Teclis, the god of light, and Tyrion, who would be his brother. You also have the spirits of Hish, who are kind of they're powerful elemental spirits that have joined the Lumineth to defend the mortal realms. So they would crush enemies between their huge stone hooves. So they're elemental spirits that are kind of animal based. You have the Aether Quartz, which is basically a tool of war. You also have here the Daughters of Cain. Now these guys are kind of interesting because they look like they're chaotic, but they are actually not. They fight for the forces of order, barely, I'd say. They love spilling blood, which is how they worship their deity, the Mordecai Cain, hence their name, the Daughters of Cain. They are very scary, very horrible, very kind of bloodlusty types of people and creatures, but are very good to have in your hand, on your side, in a fight. The only thing that is quite interesting, though, is it is in question how long will they follow the forces of order and what plans do they have for themselves in the future. Mordecai Cain, of course, which is their deity, is among the most cunning and ambitious of the gods. She earned her divinity through centuries of plotting and still hunts endlessly for more power. She is empowered by both the worship of her disciples and her own adept political manipulation. And when she goes to war, she annihilates enemies with her deadly shadow magic. You have here, of course, the Ideneth Deepkin, which would be kind of elves that are based from the sea. So they're kind of undersea raiders that would come from forth with the power of the ocean. And they have, of course, something called the hierarchy of souls, in which they have a strict social hierarchy based on the strength of an individual's soul. So they're laborers and warriors born with diminished souls, and those born with full souls will join the magical ranks. They also use beasts from the deep, and they would engage in certain soul raids. Now we also have here Gork and Morka, which are the twin gods of the Oruks, the Grots, the Ogres, and the Gargants. And like in 40k, Gork is brutal but cunning, and Mork is cunning but brutal. It's a little bit more straightforward here. They say that Gork is a god of sheer brutality, but knows that sometimes it's necessary to be cunning, whereas Mork, on the other hand, is the god of cunning and tricky, all the better for being brutal in ambushing your enemy. So, interestingly, the two sides, even though they're quite close to each other, will still have their factions that will have civil war. So you will have orcs that will kind of have civil wars with each other, depending on whether it's Gork or Mork that they worship. You have Gordrak, the Fist of Gork. So all forces of destruction are naturally drawn to him because he knows the best place to find a fight. You have Behemoth, so Gurkha Morka, which are the twin gods. They fought with the countless titanic creatures in the Age of Myth. And one of the myths they fought was Behemoth. You have the Broken Pantheon. So, in the Age of Myth, Sigmar secured Gorka Morka's allegiance through a series of titanic jewels. This allegiance, however, is now long since broken. And Gorka Morka's blessing is very unpredictable because it flows through all his worshippers, which will grant them incredible physical strength and magical resilience. And he's just basically a destroyer as well. So, Gorka Morka is basically does exactly what it says in the tin. He's there to beat things up, and if that's all you want from your game of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Gorka Morka's got you covered. You have, of course, the Dawnbringer Crusade. So this is an interesting little thing because it helps bring the narrative. You can roll the dice to see what the name of your crusade is going to be. They do the same thing here for the war, that you can kind of roll the dice to see what the kind of the impetus and aim of your war will be. You have here how to paint. Now, of course, this is a paint issue, so it's showing you how to use the paints that you have gotten with the previous issue. So you have here, of course, on the Lord Aquila and the Knight Arcanum, you have Corn Red, which is used on the different models, and again, of course, on the Cruel Boys and the Stabgits, or the Hobgrot Slitters, excuse me. Corn Red is actually a very good paint. It's one of the base paints, so it's a nice one that you won't have to paint several layers to do. You also have, of course, the Holder Die mission, which is part and parcel of it, and you have what comes in next week's issues, which of course are 5 Gryph-hounds, and the new faction. We've been given the Loon Boss. Now we have the rest of the Loom Spite Gits. However, the paint themselves are, well, quite frankly, I know Corn Red. And Corn Red is an excellent dark red paint. It's also a base paint, so it's something that you can kind of put as the base for many other colors, and you would use layer paints to kind of brighten it up. But it's a good paint to get because it's one I always use. And Contrast Glyphhound Orange is one that I haven't used yet, but I do plan to use it on the next upcoming issue on one of these Gryph-hounds, just to see what sort of shape or effect I get with it. Because there was a previous contrast paint that I got with these issues that made a fantastic job of the mini. So I'm going to risk one of the actual Gryph-hounds to see what sort of effect I get. So that will be in issue 27. So until next time, this is Sean from The Lucky Roll. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, good luck, God bless. And one final thing before I go, we have a competition going for the Leviathan, the new 10th edition box of Leviathan for Warhammer 40k. Please check the link in the video below if you want to join and enter that competition. So until then, good luck, God bless, and stay safe.